Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha, Girivaradha, Jaya Girivaradhari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Srila Prabhupada, Jai Gurudev, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Thank you so much, Mataji and Prabhuji, Narayani Mataji. Thank you so much. Standard pronouns to all.
Hare Krishna, Suma Mataji. Very melodious kirtan. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Janvi Mataji, Hare Krishna. Just a minute. Janvi Jivan Mataji, Hare Krishna. Okay. Mataji hasn't joined. Yeah. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Yeah. Hare Krishna to everyone. Our today's speaker is her grace Janvi Jivan Mataji. I'll give a brief introduction about her and then Mataji will start the class. So Mataji is in Melbourne. Currently, she is residing in Melbourne from last, I think, 20 years. Yes, Mataji? Yeah. And she is the disciple of His Holiness Devamrit Swami Maharaj. She is taking my children classes in Melbourne Temple and doing many sevas in Melbourne Temple. And also she is heading a BG Bhagavad Gita reading group. She is also running one Bhakti Vriksha group. And she has completed her Bhakti Vaibhav. So now we are very fortunate to hear from Mataji today. And Hare Krishna Mataji, welcome you to ICF Forum. And now over to you, Mataji. Hari Bol.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I'm just trying to read with you all, study together. Just whatever I understand from these words which you have given to me, we'll discuss a few points on that. So, shall we start, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji, yeah.
Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणम्। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदाङ्कितम्। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्यति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशधारिणे। वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते पेशा गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोस्तुते। सप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुस्तुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। गुरुवे गौरचंद्राय नमः। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। हरे कृष्णा माताजी।
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Mataji,
I'm audible to
Hare Krishna.
everyone, Mataji?
Everyone.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, so I start sharing the thing with them. So this is where we are at, right? Canto 2, chapter 6, Cosmic Manifestation, and verse 34. Shrimad Bhagvatam, Canto 2, chapter 6. न भारते मे नृगा मृषोपलक्षयेत् न वै क्वचिन्मे मनसो मृषागते न मे हृषिकानि पतन्ति असत्पथे न मे हृदौत्कण्ठयावता धृतो हरि. Anyone wants to recite? Or?
Hare Krishna Mataji. I can read Mataji.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji.
Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat pranam.
Na bharati me enga. Mataji, can you help me out, Mataji? It's quite big.
Bharati meninga mrushopalakshayet.
Na bharati menga mrusopalaksyate.
Na vai kvachin me manaso mrushagati.
Na vai kvachin me manaso mrusagati.
Na me rishikani patanti asatpate.
Na me rishikani patanti asatpate.
Yame hrudautkantayaavata dhruto hari. Yanme hrudautkantayaavata dhruto hari.
Yanme hrudautkatantyavata dhruto hari.
Hrudayotkantavata dhruto hari. Yanme hrudayotkantayavata dhruto hari.
Okay.
So yanme hrudayotkantayavata dhruto hari.
Yanme hrudautkatantyavata dhruto harihi.
Thank you, Mataji. So translation.
Shall
Oh,
I read,
Narada,
Mataji?
because read Mataji, read.
Okay. Translation, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. O Narada, because I have caught hold of the lotus feet of Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari with great zeal, whatever I say has never proved to have been false, nor is the process of my mind ever deterred, nor are my senses ever degraded by temporary attachment to matter. Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you very much.
So this is the conversation between Narada Muni and Lord Brahma. So Lord Brahma is actually revealing his understanding about absolute truth. Narada Muni, Narada is actually is a disciple of Brahma. I mean, he's a son of Brahma and is a perfect disciple, and who doesn't have pride or false prestige like that. And he, in that mood, he is approaching his guru, which is, I mean, guru in the sense Brahma, who is Adi Guru anyway. Because he is the first person who received all the knowledge from the Supreme Lord. Tene Brahma Adi Kavaya Adi Guru, like that. So here Brahma is original speaker of these Vedas and is giving it to Narada, and Narada is actually distributing all over the world. And we know Narada has got a lot of disciples, and he goes around everywhere, and he purifies everyone, and he brings back everyone. Like Vasudev also, in the first canto, you must have all went through or discussed how he inspired Vasudev to write Shrimad Bhagavatam when he was totally in a disappointed state of mind, and Narada Muni appeared, and he gave him instructions that the mistake he has done, and he asked him to compile Shrimad Bhagavatam so that he be satisfied. So like that, here understanding the absolute truth is very important, and this particular verses of Shrimad Bhagavatam is mainly focusing on how Brahmaji is saying that the importance of understanding Supreme Lords, and he became like Lord Brahma is actually perfected living being in this material world, and is a sincere student. I received the knowledge, and everything, whatever he's speaking, whatever he's thinking, and as it said in the translation, he is catching hold of the lotus feet of Supreme Lord with great zeal, with great enthusiasm, determination, and he is never proud of of that situation, that he is in such a high position, and he is engineer of this total universe, and he is father of everyone. So he's not thinking like that, and he don't have any false prestige or false ego like that, and his mind is never detached. Means he's totally focused on the lotus feet of the Lord, and his senses are not getting distracted. He's completely observed on the lotus feet of the Lord, like that. So he is telling that to Narada Muni in this purport of Srila Prabhupada's, just trying to give the gist of the purport as instructed, because purports are, this purport is small. If someone wants to read, they can read little bit of information I highlight, so that they can so can anyone read this one?
Vandana Mataji?
Yeah. Anyone raise the hands, or anyone wants to?
Hare
Up till
Krishna
here they can read up. Yeah. Dandavat Pranam.
Lord Brahma in the perfect,
Is the perfect.
liberated, living being within the material world, and my sincere student of transcendental knowledge must accept the words and statements of Brahmaji as infallible. The Vedic knowledge is infallible because it comes down directly from the Supreme Lord unto the heart of Brahma. And since he is the must perfect living being, Brahmaji is always connected to the letter. And this is because Lord Brahma is a great devotee of the Lord who has earnestly accepted the limits, the lotus feet of the Lord as the supreme truth. In the Brahma Samhita, which is compiled by Brahmaji, he repeats the aphorism, Govindam Adi Purusham Tamham Bhajami. I'm a worshipper of the original personality of Godhead Govinda, the primeval Lord. So whatever he says, or whatever he thinks, and whatever he does normally in his mood are to be accepted as truth because of his direct and very intimate connections with Govinda, the primeval Lord. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So what is this here? It is Brahmaji is telling that, he is a perfected living being in this material world and is a sincere student of this knowledge. He got it. And whatever he speak, whatever he think, and whatever he's, however he's working, it's all through the instructions of the Lord, and nothing is going wrong from his side. He's very confident like that. So he's telling that, I'm always correct to the letter of this. And then he's, because Lord Brahma is a devotee of the Lord, Supreme Lord, is and also eagerly, taking the shelter of Lord's lotus feet. Is completely in that surrendered mode. So in Brahma Samhita also, which Lord Brahma himself compiled, he says repeatedly, Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. So I worship that Supreme Lord, original personality of the Godhead, Govinda, the primeval Lord. So whatever he says, whatever he thinks, whatever he does, normally they're accepted as truth because of he's directly connected with Lord Govinda. So he's not contaminating the message. When the information is transformed, sometimes, we know like something called Chinese whispers. If you say something in someone's ears, and there's a game which generally people, small children play, when you say something in someone's ears, it will go to someone else and then it will go to someone. Actually, the first person, whatever they told is something totally different. But it is not going to be like this. What, you take a shelter of Supreme Lord, this is not going to be like that. Because the parampara, disciplic succession is like that from Brahma to Narada to Vyasa to everyone. It is coming in such a way that they are just repeating what their guru has taught them and repeating like that. So that is how, Srila Prabhupada has showed us how he has written taken instructions of his guru, and we have all the books of Srila Prabhupada. What we are trying to do is just accepting the scriptures as a bona fide authority, and we are trying to share and discuss what is just written in this, so that there's nothing goes wrong. Whatever we think, whatever we do, it's all supported by the scripture, so there is nothing wrong like that. So Brahma is also similarly confirming it to Narada Muni that as long as you give away this the false ego, false prestige, because this is something which we all have to learn to, and then there will be spiritual progress is guaranteed if you give some sense pleasure, and if you think that you are just a servant of the Lord, and that false ego, if it goes, I know what is right, I know who is Krishna, I'm the body, I'm the mind, I mean, I can do everything, whatever ideas I get, I'm the best, like that. If you think like that, it will not work out. So Brahma, though in that very exalted position, he says he knows nothing. Is just he's original spiritual master, but he is telling I don't know about anything, and he is telling that I have undergone so many austerities, and then I have recognized, I have understood the truth. Still, it's very hard for me to understand Krishna, but he is telling that whatever is coming from me, it's all instructed by Krishna. So that is how he says, I cannot go wrong like that. So everything is pleasing to Krishna like that. Whatever, whoever pleases the Supreme Lord, is devotees, then Krishna gives protection accordingly like that. Also, Lord Brahma is mentioned here. So in Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna says, Kaunteya Pratigyani Pratijani, means, he declared it to Arjuna that, whoever, takes shelter of me, I am there to protect them. We have another famous verse in 4.11, so accordingly you surrender, Krishna will also, take a step ahead and, look after you, protect you. So like that, whatever Krishna says, this is infallible, means he protects all his devotees like that. So this devotional service is emphasized here and that devotional service begins with service of a devotee who is in the disciplic succession. So these devotees are like that. They don't actually aspire for any impersonal picture of the Lord, and they want to, they don't even aspire for liberation. So they only want to serve the person who is in that supreme position, and they, eternally, they engage their senses, and then they want to do that, so that their devotional service is accepted by the Lord, and Lord will accordingly reciprocate to them. So then in that way, their senses are engaged, and then if the senses are engaged, they know that we should not take a shelter of Maya, take a shelter of Krishna only. So if you don't take a shelter of Maya, automatically you will take a shelter of Krishna, like that. So we should understand that when we approach the Lord in that humble mode, we should approach the Lord. So we should not um, think about, I can do everything in this world. Though some kind of intelligence or some abilities Krishna might have given us, we should be in a humble mood, like how Brahma is actually setting up as an example, showing us that, this senses are engaged in Krishna's service, then they will not get attracted to false material enjoyment, like that. So then that way, plans of the devotees will never go vain, like that, in the sense that you have a complete faith on the Lord, and then you are attached to serving the devotees and the Lord. Then that is, perfection of, getting beyond liberation, like that. So anyone from beginning Brahma to this human being are put on this path. They are in this path, and then as long as you don't deviate from this path of, serving the Lord and following the disciplines of Shrimad, and then simply that attachment to serve the Supreme Lord and catching hold of the Supreme Lord's lotus feet, like how Brahma is telling, no one can go wrong. So like that, Krishna again, is affirmed in Bhagavad Gita 14 chapter 26, Mamchayo Vibhicharine Bhakti Yogena Sevata Sagunam Samatityetam Brahma Bhuya Kalpate. So it says, everyone within the heart and soul, seriously, take the shelter of the Lord. They are always been given complete protection, and nothing can go wrong. So like that, and on the other hand, Prabhupada says that any mental speculation on the strength of this knowledge, which mundane knowledge we acquire outside in this, with our studies and all that, that is not going to help us to understand the Supreme Lord. So this will, nowhere, like that. So unfaithful words and actions, materially too much of enriched, may never be trusted, like that Prabhupada says. So this purport is actually showing us the importance of how the devotion should be. One should be having the devotion to his spiritual master or mentor or guide, like that. And then, is supremacy of the spiritual master and the disciple, both are there, because they both are approaching in that mode. So Bhakti Rasamrita, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, they says, don't try to know, know or see Krishna, but, try to serve Krishna. That way, Krishna actually wants to see you, like that, So this is important to understand that, we know everything, or, every, past, present, future, we don't know. Krishna is sitting in all of our heart as a Paramatma. He knows all of our, intensities, our desires, all that. So, but, we in the humble mode of attitude, if you do serve, simple process it is, you just serve, accept Krishna as Vibhu and as Anu. We are only infinitesimal and part and parcel of the Lord, like that. How Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also instructed to us to be Gopi Parato Parato, Dasu Dasa Anu Dasa, like that. You are only the servant of the servant of the servant of the Lord. We don't need any scholarly, achievements, or, we don't need anything about, quoting so many verses, or, understanding so much in depth of philosophy. Nothing is actually required. The only thing required is that attachment to the words, Supreme Lord, and then attachment to serving the Lord with great humility and devotion is required. That's enough. Simple process, like that. Brahma here, he is emphasizing on how he is having that kind of complete mood of surrenderance with mind, intelligence, nothing, everything, all his things are subtle and gross. Everything is completely, how it is observed on the Lord's lotus feet. How it is mentioned, Hridaya Utkanta Yavata, means my heart is earnestly desiring, eager to serve the Lord. And then he wants to give up everything just to serve the Lord, like that. He's just interested in that only, nothing else. So this is important to understand, that our mood should be serving the Lord. If on this note, which says a grain of devotion is more valuable than tons of faithlessness, it's important to think. I have a small stories to share here. Everyone knows who is Ramanujacharya.
Yes, Mataji.
Everyone knows, right? Sri Sampradaya, his truth of Sri Sampradaya has been established by Ramanujacharya. So, he has got two disciples, and one time, he went to Yatra in Srirangam, and on his way, via to Tirupati, like that he was going, and he informed with his servants to that he will go to two of his disciples' homes to stay. So like that. So the two disciples were really, really very excited to his visit because it's a golden opportunity they are getting. And then there is, the two. One is very rich, one is very poor. So the rich man is his name is Yagnesh, and the poor man is Varadacharya. So that like that. So the rich man actually, when he came to know this, the messengers came to give this information. The rich man was so excited, and he started doing so much of making arrangements and doing all the facilities, to all this, organizing all that he's doing like that. And then he didn't even had a time to spare talk to these messengers, nothing like that. And then next to the messengers went to the Varadacharya. He's a very poor Brahmana. He has a wife Lakshmi Devi, and he's a mendicant. He actually goes to that Madhukari. He takes like that, go to every village and in the town, and he get some grain of rice, and then after whatever he receives, they cook and then eat like that in the midday offering to the lordships. Like that they do. They are just very poor people. So then what happens, when these messengers come to their home, they were also very happy, but they don't have anything. And Lakshmi Devi, his wife, when she received, she don't know what to do, because nothing is there in the house, and what she will prepare, she has to make some nice preparations like that, she's thinking. And then she happened to have one, another rich lusty man who used to be always after her, using her that, just, he was bribing her, I'll give you gold, I'll give you money, why don't you come with me? Like that, he used to do like that. So this lady remembered, Lakshmi Devi remembered that, okay, I might approach that person and then ask him all the ingredients which I need to cook. And then I tell him, whatever he wants, I'll fulfill his desire. But, I just want to take this. So she approaches that person, and, that lusty man, and, he's a wealthy merchant, but she takes all the ingredients and he makes all the arrangements like that. And then she makes nice preparations. By the time the husband Varadacharya comes from village, is his town to beg some alms and bring, he's seeing so much preparations is done. And then Ramanujacharya is coming, and all the disciples have been looked after and everyone is fed nicely. He says, how come you got this much ingredient, and where did you go got this, and how did you make? He was a little bit astonished. And then she says, like, this is what I did, please forgive me, but I don't have any option, I want to serve, that's why I did. And then the husband was, dancing up and down, Varadacharya. He was so happy that, his wife has got a thoughtful idea to get all these things to serve Guru Maharaj. And so they are very happy that, he was happy to do that. And then they informed all this thing to their Guru, Ramanujacharya. And he asked, okay, bring that man along with you when you come to meet me, like that. And then before this, actually informed to these messengers that, Ramanujacharya asked when the messengers came back to him before he goes to those places, rich man and poor man places, before he decides to go, he asked that how they received him. And then the rich man was actually very busy, not even having single time to talk to them and like that. But the poor person, Acharya, wife actually received them nicely and gave some nice water, did, speak sweet words, all this they shared. So Ramanujacharya was very happy to go to Varadacharya's house only, not to the rich man's house. He said, the poor man is so, he's serving with full devotion. You just go to that attitude of, receiving itself is pleasing to his guru. So he accepted their service like that and he went. So you receive the blessings of a guru when you are in that humble, mood. They don't even care for what happens next. The wife of Varadacharya, she's chaste woman and she's under threat now. But she don't even care to serve Guru Maharaj because full faith is there on Lord and his Guru Maharaj and his wife, husband, full faith. Nothing is going to happen. Just want to serve. That's it. So that's the mood. That's the service attitude they have. So in that way, what happened? They received the blessing of the Guru and they got purified. So this should be our mood when we serve Guru. We should not have any hesitation. Just completely surrender, like how Brahma is telling here. He just catch hold of the feet of the lotus feet of the Lord. caught hold of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord Hari with great zeal. Whatever I say, I never be proud, never prove to be false, because nothing is deviating. Everything is coming from Supreme Lord as it is. He's just trying to, disseminate that information. So his mind is not deterred. His senses are not deviating from engaging into attachment to matter and all that. Not into false temporary results, all that. So Brahma is setting an example and giving this information to Narada Muni, that how one should be approaching a guru and serve a guru in that humble state of mind, like that. Yeah. So that's what I want to share. Anyone has any question or other understanding required or comments, anything?
It's clear, Mataji.
Clear, no? We'll go to the next verse.
Hare Krishna.
Chapter 635. Soham samam nayamaystapo maha prajapatinam abhivanditapati asataya yogam nipunam samahitas tam nadigacham yatatma sambhavaha.
Hare Krishna. Can I read, Mataji?
Yeah, you want to recite?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Soham samam nayamayas tapomaya prajapatinam apivanditapati astaya yogam nipunam samahitas tam nataya gacham yatha atma sambhava. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Can I read, Mataji?
Yes, please, Mataji.
Although I know I am known as a great Brahma, perfect in the disciplic succession of Vedic wisdom, and although I have undergone all austerities and am an expert in mystic powers and self-realization, and although I am recognized as such by the great forefathers of the living entities who offer me respectful obeisances, still I cannot understand him, the Lord, the very source of my birth. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Mataji. Thank you.
Yes, Hare Krishna. So I'll just see if it is not big. I will ask someone to read the purport little bit. You can read the first paragraph little bit, up till here. Anyone wants to read?
May I read, Mataji?
Yes, please. Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Brahma, the greatest of all living creatures within the universe, admiring his failure to, he's admitting his failure to know the Supreme Lord, despite his vast learning in the Vedic wisdom, despite his austerity, penance, mystic power, and self-realization, and despite being worshipped by the great Prajapatis, the forefathers of the living entities. So these qualifications are not sufficient to know the Supreme Lord. Brahmaji could understand the Lord to a little extent only when he was trying to serve him by the eagerness of his heart. That is Hridaya Kanti. No. What is that, Mataji?
Hridayautkantaya vata.
Hridayautkantaya vata. Yeah, okay. Which is the devotional service mode. Therefore, the Lord can be known only by the sincere mood of eagerness for service and not by any amount of material qualification as a scientist or speculative philosopher or by attainment of mystic powers. This fact is clearly corroborated in the Bhagavad Gita 18.54 and 55.
Yeah, so like how I was telling before, like our mode should be as an humble servant, and we are only the instruments in serving the Lord, like that. Our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, we're not considered about, becoming a great orators or philosophers like that. You're simply concerned about just, following the words what Krishna has said in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and then that they're all transcendental, and then we don't need to actually, try to invent something new. Just have to repeat what they say. In a previous ages, like, Munis and all, they actually, they have to get different ideas, and they're, they need to get into different things, and they do like that, rishis and munis. But we has been, this everything information is taken from, Krishna is given to Brahma, and Brahma to Vyasa and Narada, like that. Everything is been provided to us. And then Brahma, again, is not feeling proud of his creation, is not feeling that he knows the Vedas, is not feeling that he's an originator, like that, and then though the information is imported to him, given to him, the knowledge is being imparted to him, but everything, knowledge is coming, he's thinking, but, Krishna, he knows that, when Garbhodaksha Vishnu, from there, Vedic knowledge, from the lotus flower, from the stem has emerged from the navel of the Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and then from in the lotus, he has been taken a birth, and then, thousands of celestial years he performed all these tapasyas on this lotus flower, actually. So we hear only in other yugas, Satya Yuga and other yugas, only 60,000 years, but this is celestial years, which you and me cannot comprehend. He didn't even eat, he didn't even sleep, he didn't even drink. His mind didn't waver, like previous was saying. His object of meditation was only on Supreme Lord's lotus feet, Krishna. Still he is telling that I can't understand Krishna, because, he's taking that humble position of that he cannot understand, because Krishna's opulences are inconceivable. The more and more we try to know Krishna, you feel like you want to more and more know him. So because this is a sign of humility, if you try to think like that. So like that, Brahma is thinking like that, like I said before, knowing verses, philosophy, or I know so much of information, I read all the shastras. This will not actually, this memory may fade, you may forget, but that is not important. What is important is that, thinking of yourself as humbler than blade of grass, and, trying to know the Lord and serve the Lord, like that. Yeah, so glories of Krishna are unlimited. Just like how the sky is so high, we cannot reach the sky with our limited understanding. Like that, just like, we are like a bird. If the bird flies high, it may high as much as its ability is there to fly high. That's how, we may try to glorify the Supreme Lord, but how high can we go? That is not possible. How much ever a small bird can fly, that much we do. How high? To describe the glories of the Lord is very little, actually. We cannot go high as and high to reach the sky, like that. So Brahma is actually, having 4 heads, and he's seen all directions of this universe. From the beginning, he's there. And then still he's telling that, Lord he knows everything. He has actually been to all the, when he's meditating in that, 1,000 years celestials, when he did, Lord shows him all the spiritual about. He goes to, he goes to Vaikunthas, everything he sees there, and, all, Lord spoke Chaturshloki also to him. He saw Goloka Vrindavan himself, and he compiled Brahma Samhita also. Still he is telling, I can't understand Krishna. I just only follow because we are infinitesimal. Just we are Anu and his Vaibhu. Like that, we are just a drop in that ocean, like that, So if we just, how we surrender to Krishna when we fall, like in Bhagavad Gita, we have 4.34. What is that, what is that verse we have in particular, which it says, Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashna sevaya, right? Upadekshanti te jnaninas tattva darshana. So how do you approach a Lord? You approach a Lord with inquiring from the Lord submissively, and then, Supreme Lord, Supreme Spiritual Master, render service to him, and then, those self-realized souls can impart that knowledge to you, because they have seen the truth. So this is what, and that's the mode of approaching the spiritual master. So this is how Brahma is also approaching, is just submissively, is whatever knowledge he has got, is informing that, though I have this knowledge, I can't understand the supremacy of Lord Brahma, because, he's putting himself as, lowly in that position that, I'm only servant, I don't know. And his eagerness to serve Krishna is so much there. Like that, we also have to be in that same situation. Like when we see that, other personalities, from the Shastra, we see how these people who are, tiny fraction of, opulence or power or strength they would have got, like Ravana, Kumbhakarna, Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, Dantavakra, Shishupal, all that. They have so much of powers, and then, they are thinking so proud of themselves that whatever they have got, and they are about to destroy everything also, that Krishna wanted to kill them also, because that's not the qualification to approach Krishna. Ultimately, what is the qualification to understand supreme truth or is real? Understanding the self-realization is required is this submissiveness and approaching Krishna in that mood of serving like that. So we have to, any service we do, we should have that eagerness, performing that, chanting the holy names, hearing the pastimes of the Lord. Uh, and then, anything you're preaching to someone, or you're trying to distribute Srila Prabhupada books, or, anything you want to do, if you have that mode, then Krishna will empower you. That eagerness should be there, the determination should be there. So like that, when we think about Brahma also, like, he was illusioned, in that Brahma Vimogana Leela, if you understand that, he stole all the cows and cowherd boys, and he still, he understood that how powerless he was, that he in this universe he considered himself as so much powerful. No one is powerful than me, like that. But still, like, everyone get powers from Brahma. Like this Ravana, Kumbhakarna, they also get boons from Brahma. Like Surya, Agni, Vayu, Indra, everyone get everything from Brahma. But when all the asuras, demons attack these devatas, they all approach Brahma again for shelter. But he cannot do anything. He has to, he cannot protect. He says, you have to approach Krishna. Krishna only protect. He prayed to Krishna actually to protect. Like that, so Brahma is actually, fully not victimized with his senses, and is eager to serve Krishna. And in other hand, what we are happening every day, we are struggling with our sadhana, and we are struggling with our mind getting distracted, and senses are not completely engaged in the service of the Lord, like that. So here in this purport, Prabhupada is also in giving the information here. See, attainment of high qualifications of Vedic wisdom, austerity, they can help one on the path of devotional service. Only by self-realization it is possible. But failing in devotional service, one may remain still imperfect, because in that position of self-realization, one cannot know this, because by self-realization, one is qualified to become devotee. What is the devotee's mode? Serving mode is that they just serve only. They are only servant of the Lord, like that. So it is like entanglement is there for a materialistic person, but someone who is engaging their senses properly in service of the Lord, then that entanglement is not there. So devotional service means free from material entanglement, and then enter into kingdom of God. That is, that's like that, and not into becoming one with the Lord. That not that Sayuchamik Bhukti, that merging with the Lord's like that. But it is something more than that. That means their individuality still exists, and they still engage in the loving service of the Lord. Like that Prabhupada is telling in the purport. The devotees are not anxious for any kind of liberation also. Devotees are satisfied simply in engaged in the service of the Lord, whatever situation they are in. Like, you think about Vamana Dev, Krishna. Krishna actually, became a doorkeeper in Sutala Loka for Vamana Dev. He didn't want to, he's accepted that position. Krishna accepted the chariot driver of Arjuna also.
Bali Maharaj.
So if Krishna, sorry, Bali Maharaj. Thank you, Mataji. So yeah, like that, yeah, anything, if Krishna only is doing like that, we as just, practicing devotees, we have to, regardless of whatever situation, either we are going to hell or heaven or any other place, doesn't matter. Only thing what we want is to serve the Lord, like that, So Lord Brahma, who is the first living being, and he's directly got instructions of this Vedic wisdom from God, Lord, Tena Brahma Hrudayadi Kave. Then he is a Vedantist, like that. And then, who can be more perfect or more, devotional to the Lord than him, like that. Prabhupada is mentioning about Bhakti Vedantas here. Someone who is self-realized only can understand the Supreme Lord, like that. can someone read this? I think better to read this particular section. It's very important. From here, I think this para. Someone can read this para.
Mataji, can I read?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, please.
Hare Krishna. Lord Brahma is the first living being who directly learned the Vedic wisdom from the Lord. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye. Therefore, who can be more learned Vedantist than Lord Brahma? He admits that in spite of his perfect knowledge in the Vedas, he was unable to know the glories of the Lord. Since no one can be more than Lord Brahma, how can a so-called Vedantist be perfectly cognizant of the absolute truth? The so-called Vedantist, therefore, cannot enter into the existence of the Lord without being trained in the matter of Bhakti Vedanta or Vedanta plus Bhakti. Vedanta means self-realization and Bhakti means realization of the personality of Godhead. To some extent, no one can know the personality of Godhead in full, but at least a certain extent, one can know the absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, by self-surrender and a devotional attitude, and by nothing else. In the Brahma Samhita also it is said, Vedeshu Durlabham, or simply by study of Vedanta, one can hardly find out the existence of the personality of Godhead. But the Lord Adurlabham, Atma Bhakta, very easy.
Adurlabham Atma Bhaktao.
Adurlabham Atma Bhaktau, very easily available to his devotee. Srila Vyasadeva, therefore, was not satisfied simply with compiling the Vedanta Sutras, but over and above this, by the advice of his spiritual master Narada, he compiled the Shrimad Bhagavatam in order to understand the real import of the Vedanta. Shrimad Bhagavatam, therefore, is the absolute medium by which to understand the absolute truth. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. So yeah, so it is clear here that Krishna, though Lord Brahma is the first living being, he admits that, someone who knows the Vedas also unable to know the glories of the Lord. So who can be more than Lord Brahma? Such a Vedantist, cannot understand absolute truth. Then, that's what Prabhupada said, the so-called Vedantist, like sometimes, we may have learned these, that, like we have information, knowledge, everything is there. That is not self-realization. Self-realization is that someone who knows the Supreme Lord in full, but, to some extent, at least to a certain extent, one can know the Supreme Lord, so that is by self-surrender, devotional attitude, nothing else. That's what Prabhupada is saying himself. So in Brahma Samhita also, it says, Advaitam Achyutam Anadi Rupam. That's the verse, right? Fifth verse of Brahma Samhita confirms that. What's the verse? Anyone wants to read that? Just Advaitam Achyutam Anadi Rupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayavvanancham Vedesha Durlabha Madurlabhamatma Bhakta Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. What's the meaning of that? That's what Krishna says. I worship Govinda. Brahma says, I worship that Govinda, who is a primeval Lord, whose transcendental form is full of bliss, truth, and substantiality, and is thus full of most dazzling splendor. Each of the limbs of the transcendental figure possesses in himself the full-fledged functions of all organs, and eternally sees, maintains, and manifests the infinite universes, both spiritual and mundane. So that particular, Lord who is, manifesting this infinite, universes, spiritual and material, and it's not easily available. And, but for the devotee who is worshipping Supreme Lord like that, Adurlam Atma Bhakta, very easily available to his devotees. So Srila Vyasadeva was also he was not simply satisfied with compiling Vedanta Sutras. He has read Mahabharata, he has read all the, Puranas, 18 Puranas, and, Upanishads, everything, 108 Upanishads. Still, he was not happy. He was just morose and dissatisfied, and he's something in the heart is not feeling empty in his heart, and he was not able to understand the reason. But but just by the advice of his spiritual master Narada Muni, and then glorification of the Supreme Lords is very important. That's what you missed it. So devotion service and how to perform devotion service, how to guide these people in Kali Yuga, because they're all actually Vasudev can see from his forethought, what's going to happen, and then it's going to be really big chaos, and then you don't guide them properly to engage their senses in serving the Lord. This is what Shrimad Bhagavatam is talking about, all about the Lord. And if you don't do that, then how the people are going to take shelter of Supreme Lord? And then later, Shrimad Bhagavatam is Krishna as a personal, it's a book form as Krishna has appeared in Shrimad Bhagavatam. So that's how Vasudeva is compiled and gave to all of us. And Srila Prabhupada has put all his, so much of his time and effort to change, translate into plain English language for all of us to understand, so that we take the shelter, and absolute truth can be understood only through following the disciplines of the parampara. We cannot really, and that too in the mood of humility and surrender. Otherwise, we can't understand anything. Brahma himself has lost understanding Supreme Lord like that. So he's giving that instructions to Narada Muni. So everyone clear with this?
Yes, Mataji.
Go to 36. 6 is a little bigger. Natosmyaham taccharanam sameyusham bhavachidam swasti ayanam sumangalam yo hi atmamaya vibhavam samaprayagat yatha nabaha svantam atapare kutaha.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. May I repeat, Mataji?
Yes, recite, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Natosmyaham taccharanam samiyusham bhavachidam swastyanam sumangalam yo hi atmamaya vibhavam sma paryagat yatha nabha swam atha pare kuta. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Therefore, it is best for me to surrender unto His feet, which alone can deliver one from the miseries of repeated birth and death. Such surrender is all auspicious and allows one to perceive all happiness. Even the sky cannot estimate the limits of its own expansion. So what can others do when the Lord Himself is unable to estimate His own limits? Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for reading. So so again it is clear, he's saying that best to surrender to his feet, lotus feet, and then that will deliver from us from the repeated birth and death. So Narada Muni initially wanted to know, he understood that Brahma is something, is a supreme father, and he is the greatest of all living beings. He's a great sacrificer. He performed a lot of austerities, and he's self-realized mystic, and then the spiritual master for all living beings, and he himself, telling that, simply surrender to the lotus feet of the Lord to achieve this success. You cannot, then that will liberate you from miseries in life. And then all the auspiciousness will be coming to you. So, and then Brahma is actually a Pitamaha, is a father of everyone. Then, Lord Brahma is father of father, and, father of Manu, father of all the mankind, like that. And he himself is feeling insignificant like that. And then he's instructing to surrender to the lotus feet. And then he's telling, I cannot even, measure the length and breadth of Lord's potencies, like that, immeasurable, like that, as it is mentioned in the Vedas also. Parashya Shaktir Vividaiva Suryate Swabhavika Jnana Balakriya Cha. He's the greatest of all. All others, even the greatest of living beings, namely Brahmaji, also admits the best thing is to surrender unto the Supreme Lord. So those who don't have the understanding, knowledge, they claim themselves to be the Lord. We have so many people, they don't show the path properly. They think I am the God, and then they want to be served, and they want to be, glorified and things like that. But, then they're all materialistic people who are unfortunately mislead us. But here Brahma is telling better to surrender to that Supreme Lord who is actually, and my example Prabhupada gives here. So if someone wants to read this. Yeah, I would, yeah, I want from here, yeah. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Mataji, shall I read?
Yes, yes, yes.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki Jai. One scientific man who had no belief in God was very much enthusiastic in making plans for his material existence and therefore opened a hospital to save the living. But after opening the hospital, he himself died within 6 months. So one should not spoil his human life, which is obtained after many, many changes of bodies in 84 lakh species of life, simply for the concreted material happiness of life through increasing artificial needs in the name of advancement of economic development and scientific knowledge. Rather, one should simply surrender onto the feet of the Lord to make a solution to all miseries of life. That is the instruction of Lord Krishna directly in Bhagavad Gita, and that is the instruction of Shrimad Bhagvatam by Brahmaji, the Supreme Father of all living beings. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So that's what it is. See, if you don't do that, what happened? This person who opened hospital died after 6 months. What's the importance of this human form of life if you don't use it? So like that, you wander around 8.4 million species again, and then that's it. You lost your precious human form of life. So just what Brahma is instructing, just simply surrender to the lotus feet, and the solution is there. Get rid of all the miseries of material life, like that. So anyone who denies this process, then as recommended in Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, and which is an authorized scriptures for all of us, they are forced to surrender to material nature. Maya Dakshena Prakriti Suyateta Charachara. We have in that Bhagavad Gita 7.4. And then, sorry, no, not 7.4. It is, yeah, that's what, yeah. So every material nature is controlled by the Lord only. And then, sorry, 9.10 it is. So material 9.10 is Maya Dakshena Prakriti Suyaseta Charachara. So material world is controlled by the Lord, and everything is under his direction only working, moving, non-living, everything. And he's all the living entities superior to matter, but if they don't discriminate the choices given by the Lord, misuse their free will, instead of surrendering to the Lord, they surrender to material nature, then they are entangled. It's better one become happy by surrendering to the Lord and serving the Lord, and they get liberated, so that end of suffering is there. That's better, instead of getting into entanglement. And Prabhupada here says that suffering means surrendering unto the Lord, because end of suffering means surrendering unto the Lord, because surrendering process is itself is Bhava Chiddam, means it has got full of liberation from material miseries, and then full of happiness and Sumangalam, auspicious, like that. So we have this happiness, good fortune. Who doesn't want to attain this? That is, you can attain only by surrendering to the Lord. So this full liberty, full happiness, full auspiciousness one will get. So that is what that pleasure is there. So Krishna is telling here that such liberation and happiness are also unlimited, and they have been compared to the sky. Although such liberation and happiness are infinitely greater than the sky, what it means that we cannot measure the length and breadth of how much satisfaction or happiness you get. It's unlimited, like full of auspiciousness, full of Krishna's opulences are unlimited. So you fail to measure the sky, because the happiness and liberty obtained in association of the Lord is greater than the sky. So what does that mean? Is spiritual happiness is not measurable. Let's say you want to do some service, and that service gives you so much satisfaction to the heart that you hanker to do that service again and again, and then you want to do better next time. Actually, that you would have done it, but you feel, I would do next time nice garlands. This time I'm not satisfied. That is there, but still your eagerness to do more and more is there. So that is multiplication of that satisfaction is happening. But if you, in contrast, if you think about going to a mundane, workplace and do some work for 8 hours, who one of us will think of doing another 8 hours again. I don't feel like, when to go home like that, we'll be thinking. We don't want to work another extra 1 minute also after our finish. Then that's it. We'll close the system and come. So like that, spiritual happiness is Brahma Saukyam to Anantam, means spiritual happiness is unlimited. Like that, it's telling according to the scriptures, it is like that. So we cannot measure that happiness. And that is actually, it doesn't mean that, Brahma, I cannot measure, but it's just that he's giving us that information that the happiness derived from serving the Lord is such great that we want to, again and again and again feel that, happiness means by serving the Lord, we want to do again and again and again. The service is roasted, we want to do it again, our roasted day. We don't want to miss it. Like that, sometimes people do swap also. They don't want to miss that opportunity to serve. If that is not that day not possible, some other day they will do like that. So that spiritual happiness is Anandambudhi Vardhanam. The ocean of happiness is there, which is increases multifold like that. That if you get the drop of that happiness from this, from the ocean, little drop also, that's it enough. Our life is successful like that, so we should, in that mode, actually, we should chant. When we do the service, we think about chanting. That is calling the Lord's name. We should have the deep impact on us. When you chant the Lord's name, we should cry out to the Lord, so that Lord actually establish in our heart. He would love to sit in our heart like that. So we're inviting the Lord like that. So in that mood, we should chant, and then Lord will all slowly, when the anarthas are clear from our heart, all the kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, then we were just we just repeat the words like how we are just like a parrot. We repeat the words. How parrots, they are trained well. They just say whatever you teach them. Like that, if you teach Haribol also, they say Radhe Radhe also, they say Mahamantra also, they say like that. We try to chant with the deep impact of calling out to the Lord, and then literally when a child cries out for a lost mother or father, like that, so I do like that, then our lips are engaged, tongue is engaged, and the vocal cord, everything is engaged in chanting of the Lord, then that sound vibration will makes us more and more happy, like that. So if it is the same parrot which is nicely put in a cage and looked after nicely, and then repeating our words, but that parrot is left out in a hailstorm or a hot winds or things like that, the parrot's vibration of tone will change. Like that, we also, if we are not taken shelter of the Supreme Lord and take shelter of Maya, our consciousness will change. The vibration will not come like that. So we need to be checked all the time. We need to be in the protection of the devotees, take the association of the devotees, and take the shelter of the holy name, and try to, how Narada Muni is inquiring from Brahma. Like he thought he is the person who is making all the plans. He's the person who is actually, creating everything. He knows everything. Then who are you actually, meditating upon, and who else is there beyond you, like that? And where are you getting? I mean, is someone else is there to give you some plans, or like that is inquiring? And then, Brahmaji is Narada Muni inquiring, and Brahmaji is giving this explanation, explanation of this various Purusha. Will start giving the later, but yeah, incarnations of Purusha avatars, and then how everyone else is working under his direction, and then he's also taking a role to do this with enthusiasm to create this material universe, like that. So it's functioning under the guidance of Supreme Lord. Each and everyone is also doing, and I'm also doing like that. Directly appeared from born from Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, but I am just trying this serve this Purusha avatars under their guidance and authority, like that. I'm only the secondary creator following the primary creation, like that is describing to Narada Muni. So someone has to follow the parampara, so that we just with great zeal and enthusiasm serve the Lord, like that. So this is what we have to understand, that how much ever we do, we are just only little bit we are doing just minute, like squirrel efforts we will be doing, so that humble attitude should be there. Yeah. Krishna also declares in 9th chapter only, 9th chapter, what is it? In second verse also he says, right? What is it? Raja Vidya, Raja Guyam, Pavitram, Uttam, Uttamam. Anybody knows that verse? Pratyeksha Avagamam, Dhamyam, Susukam Kartamavayam, right? So Raja Vidya, Raja Guyam, Pavitram, Idam Uttamam. Pratyeksha Avagamam, Dhamyam, Susukam Kartamavayam. So this knowledge, whatever is there, king of education, secret of all secrets. Someone who is, purest knowledge and, direct perception of the self by realization. It's everlasting, joyfully performed. So whatever knowledge we are getting from Parampara, yeah, try to accept it and then, follow under the guidance of bona fide spiritual authorities, then we will get the transcendental happiness. Ocean of spiritual happiness is there. And in the end, how Srila Prabhupada is put in the purport. Material ocean is stagnant, but the spiritual ocean is dynamic. And in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has also nicely described what's the increment of ocean of spiritual happiness. Like how, Krishna wanted to see the, how what is making Radharani so happy, I mean, the devotion of Radharani was so much he wanted to see, understand, feel the pleasure of Radharani. So he himself has actually appeared in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he widely distributed this, holy name to all of us to chant, so that we get the pleasure of, chanting the holy names like that. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself has put us an example how to take the shelter of the holy name. So understanding, Radharani's mood, he's to understand what is Radharani's mood, he's manifested that, and yeah. So blind faith, is not good. Speculative knowledge is not good. Take the shelter of the lotus feet under the bona fide authority is important. Like that is mentioning, so that you get that eternal happiness, spiritual happiness. Anything else anyone wants to add or share or understand?
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat
I'm sorry,
Pranam.
Mataji, I missed class, not 3-4 days class I missed, and there was a lot of seva in the temple. Mataji, my question is, I'm sorry, I could not hear everything. Sometime I missed it. The question is, Mataji, why the demigods goes to Brahma? I mean, are they not having knowledge that Krishna is Supreme Lord? So why they don't go to Krishna? They are, more developed consciousness than us, right? So we have been taught that we should be approaching Krishna, but they are more developed consciousness. They have access to more things, and they should be going to Krishna. Why they go to Brahma? That is my question.
Yeah, see, demigods are also like consciousness is there, but they are like, they also have, sorry, some messages I'm getting. They also have actually, they're in the cycle of birth, death, old age, disease. This is all there for them also. And they are also having entanglement, and they are also having the desires, everything. So why they go to Brahma? Because, they're all actually, coming from Brahma only, right? So these are father of every living entity. So demigods are also one among them only. They also like Jiva Tattvas only, right? So they are... so then, whatever the problems they get whenever they have been, all the attacked by asuras and like that, first thing is they approach, and then they all together worship, Brahma takes them to Shirodakshaya Vishnu. And then that's where they get the solutions actually. Yeah, but first thing is they approach Brahma like that.
So Brahma, I mean, physically they are able to approach, is accessible Brahma, just like a child is having access to his father, right? In the Mrityu Loka here. So similarly, they have access to the Brahma. That's why they go to Brahma. I mean, easily. Of course, Krishna is not accessible to anyone, right? Unless you go to the background. So is it like that?
Yeah, that is also a valid point, that no one can approach Krishna directly. We have to approach through the parampara. So for them, Brahma is like in the succession where they can approach through them, through Brahma. They can get the solutions done like that. So Yeah, that could be also one of the reasons.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you.
Directly, you cannot go to president, right? You have to approach
Right.
some of the people who are assisting the president. You approach, and then you can be able to get the solutions. Otherwise, not possible. No one will care if you go directly. Not a path. No direct path is there like that. That's what my understanding, Prabhu.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you.
No problem. Anyone wants to? I think we can't go to the next verse, isn't it, Mataji? Narayani Mataji, because of the time constraint.
Mataji, as you said, rightly said, that we have to follow the proper channel. So like here also in material world, in our world, we are going to Guru, we are taking shelter of the Guru, and then the Guru is taking shelter of his Guru. So there is a channel, the proper channel. Similarly, for Devatas, Brahmaji, and then from Brahmaji can go up to Shirodakshai Vishnu, or maybe the causal ocean up to the Garbhodakshai Vishnu. And they're also on the shore of the ocean only, they are praying the Purush Sukta.
Correct.
Yeah.
Not going beyond that.
Yeah, Haribol.
We can't go beyond that. Yeah. No access. Access denied. Something like that. Yeah.
Chintamani Prabhu, is it okay?
Yes, Mataji. It's much clear. I mean, we have to surrender to our Guru. So Brahma is their Guru.
Yeah.
Correct.
Haribol.
He's there. They're all coming through them. Any problem, our children have some problem, they approach us first. They don't go to someone who can, neighbors or someone else, I mean, not neighbors, I would say, but the originator of that, solution giver, they cannot go. Some problem like outside world, they may have, but first they go through their immediate people whom they can think that the problems can be solved like that. And important thing is that following the parampara, discipline succession is very important. Like in the day-to-day life also, when we offer, bhoga to the Lord, we don't directly offer to Krishna, right? We just offer to our Guru, and Guru will offer to his Guru, and his Guru will offer to his Guru, and the parampara is taking it through Radharani offer to Krishna, and before offering to Krishna, Radharani make sure everything is actually been up to the standard. Then she offered it to Krishna. And then it will come through again, mercy of Radharani to Parampara, and then it will come to us as Mahaprasad, like that. Isn't it? So approaching to that Parampara is important. We can't feel, oh, I know Krishna, so I can directly approach. It's not like that. Krishna will not accept that more. Yeah?
Hare Krishna, Bharataji. As per your words, it's like Krishna will be there in the like Goloka. It's like beyond our like Garbhodakshai Vishnu, Kshirodakshai Vishnu, and Karnodakshai Vishnu.
Yeah.
Okay. From there, and one more thing, it is like while we are offering prasad to that like Krishna, like we have to like request for Prabhupada, and Prabhupada will request for Radharani, and Radharani will request for Krishna. Is that way, Mataji?
Yeah. When we offer bhoga to the Lord Krishna, it is we are first reciting pranam mantras of our Guru, and then if you have a Guru, recite pranam mantras of a Guru. Otherwise, recite pranam mantras of Prabhupada, and then you just in a sequence you do offer to Krishna like that. So it is going from parampara, not directly offering to Krishna. So they are taking your bhoga to them, and then they are giving back the Mahaprasad to you like that. The remnants of what Krishna has tasted, that bhoga, you get that remnants as prasad, so you distribute and eat like that. Partake, sorry. Yeah.
Yes, Mataji, but you said that Radharani will again.
Yeah, because all the parampara, and then you reach out to Radharani, because Radharani is always there to make sure Krishna is getting everything first class standard. So she is expert cook. She never repeats her cooking. We are all cooking, so we are offering. She wants to make sure it is perfect, right?
But how we have to receive that mercy of Radharani in this process?
That's right. We receive mercy through Radharani only. And this Mahamantra also we receive through mercy of Radharani only. Because that's how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is manifested as mood of Radharani.
Yeah.
And then, we got the Maha Mantra because of her mercy. And he distributed far and wide with no caste, creed, and nothing, So, I mean, she's giving like that. And we seek for her mercy to get Krishna mercy. And then, through devotees, we get Krishna mercy. Through Guru, we get Krishna mercy. Through
Yes.
Krishna, we get Guru mercy. It's like that.
Yeah.
Works both ways. But it has to be done like that. So it is the same kind of understanding.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, we can complete the last verse and then devotees can ask the questions.
Oh, we'll
Is it
complete
okay,
the last
Mataji?
verse. I thought, okay, we are
Yeah,
constrained.
yeah, Mataji.
Okay, we'll do that last verse. Sorry about that, Mataji.
No, it's okay, Mataji.
Naham na yoyam yatra tim gatim vidur na vamadeva kim utaper sura tanmayaya mohita budayastu idham vinamritam chatma samam vichakshmaye. Anyone wants to read translation?
Yes, Mataji. Can I read?
Yes,
Or
Prabhuji.
yeah. Translation. Since neither Lord Shiva nor you nor I could ascertain the limits of spiritual happiness, how can other demigods know it? And because all of us are bewildered by the illusory external energy of the Supreme Lord, we can see only this manifested cosmos according to our individual ability. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. We have many times mentioned the names of 12 selected authorities. Dvadasha Mahajana.
Adesha Mahajana, 12 Mahajanas.
12 Mahajanas, of which Brahma, Narada, and Lord Shiva head the list as the first, second, and third in order of merit of those who know something of the Supreme Lord, other demigods, semi-demigods, Gandharvas, Karanas, Vidyadharas, human beings, or Asuras cannot possibly known fully about the potencies of the Absolute Lord, Sri Krishna. The demigods, semi-demigods, Gandharvas, etc. are all highly intelligent persons in the upper planets. The human beings are inhabitants of the intermediate planets, and the Asuras are inhabitants of the lower planets. All of them have their respective conceptions and estimations of the absolute truth, as does the scientist or the empiric philosopher in human society. All such living entities are creatures of the material nature, and consequently, they are bewildered by the wonderful display of the three modes of material nature. Such bewilderment is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita 7.13. Tribhir Gurumayir
Gunamayer Bhaver
Gunamayir
Ebis
Bhaver Ebit He Sarvam Idham Jagat.
Jagat.
Every entity beginning from Brahma down to the ant is individually bewildered by the three modes of material nature, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance. Everyone thinks in terms of individual capacity, that is, this universe, which is manifested before us, is all in all. And so, the scientist in the human society of the 12 uh, scientist in the human society of the 20th century calculates the beginning and end
Of the universe in his own way.
of the universe in his own way. But what can the scientists know? Even Brahma himself was once bewildered thinking himself the only one Brahma favored by the Lord. But later on, by the grace of the Lord, he came to know that there are innumerable more powerful Brahmas as well in far bigger universes beyond this universe. And all of these universes combined together form Ekapad Vibhuti. Ekapad Vibhuti, or 1/4 of the manifestation of the Lord's creative energy. The other 3/4 of his energy are displayed in the spiritual world. And so, what can the tiny scientist with the tiny brain know of the absolute personality of Godhead, Lord
Can
Krishna?
stop here, bro. We can stop. Okay, only little bit is there. Yeah, so I will just go through that one. So here, what it is, purport is saying that, Brahma, Narada, Lord Shiva, they all, know the Lord. But what they are doing is they're following the instructions of those great personalities. They're not actually, trying to feel themselves, neither Lord Shiva nor you, nor I can ascertain the limit of spiritual happiness. They cannot measure this limit of the spiritual happiness. Then demigods, how can they know? Like that is that, because all of us are bewildered by illusion energy. Like that it has been mentioned in the translation. So what, Narada Muni is a spiritual master of so many personalities actually. And Shrimad Bhagavatam, if you read through all the, cantos, how he has been inspiring each and, Dhruva Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, like that, Prachinavari. Everyone, getting instruction from them. And then, they are understanding their relationship with the Supreme Lord, and they are trying to exhibit like that. And Lord Brahma is a father of Narada Muni, and then he's a great grandfather, and like that to all the living entities, original guru, and he manifested Vedas from his mouth like that, and he's in that exalted position. And Narada Muni is completely in that position. He's humbly accepting Narada Muni as a disciple also, but he is proving that he can glorify Krishna only with simply he can do that, but he cannot. It's just not take that position in that exhausted position. Also, he's telling that I am actually bewildered by illusionary energy. Like that, he's telling, because sometimes one time what happened now when Brahma actually wanted to visit Vaikuntha, he visited Vaikuntha one time, and then when he visited, he said to the great doorkeeper, he said that tell Lord Narayana that I have come, Brahma has come. So in general, if you say like that, they will go and tell like that. But if a president, in a mundane world, if a president goes and tell the chief minister has come, which chief minister they may ask, right? Which state chief minister is coming to me? Like that, same thing he heard from Lord Narayana, that which Brahma is coming, like that. Then Brahma was thinking, I am the one who has got, forehead, and I am the one who got all the knowledge from Krishna and the originator of this creation, like that. I mean, that exalted position. Now, how come he's asking like that? He thought, but as and when he entered into the, Lord Narayana's assembly, there, you see lots of Brahmas there paying obeisances and prayer, offering their prayers, and he sees so many Brahmas are actually having more than 4 heads. One is having 8, one having 16, 32, so many 1,000 heads also. Like that, millions and millions of head Brahmas he sees. And then, they are in front of them, he feels very insignificant actually. Who am I? Like that, he's thinking like that, there are so many there, and every time, he's thinking, every time some problems comes, the demigods are, whenever they're troubled with demons, they're approaching me, and I am, trying to, remember the Supreme Lord and solving their, like that, and he thinks he's so small in front of all those Brahmas. He understands his position now, I'm not only Brahma existing here. Different universes have different Brahmas, and they have different positions, and they are doing different. And actually, if you and me do proper sadhana, we can also become one of Brahma. The position is like that. Brahma's position, he also have a death, he also have lifespan. So he understands his position there. He cannot, every one of yours, in Narada, Lord Shiva, Brahma, no one can actually, understand, supremacy of the Lord, because they cannot measure that happiness. They cannot like that, So other demigods like, semi-demigods, Gandharvas, Charanas, Vidyadhara, they also can't understand the potencies of the Lord, absolutely, like that. So all of them are, doing the respective roles according to the instructions given by the Lord. But if you and me think that we are great, then that is it. There's nothing you can achieve like that. So Brahma is explaining or giving that information like that. Even Shiva got bewildered also one time. Shiva understand that the devatas got so much attracted to this Mohini Murti's form. And then Shiva one time inquired from Lord Vishnu that, I want to see that form. And then when Vishnu actually, manifest in that form, Shiva actually even is that Bhavani, next to him, even she is there, who is actually controlling the whole material universe here, material nature. And he actually can't even, she's controlled by him, of course, but Shiva actually falls. He chases Mohini Murti, Rupa of Vishnu Murti. He couldn't actually control. He just keeps chasing her like that. And then, he was also bewildered by the beauty of God like that. So Lord Shiva is also, he's an exalted devotee of the Lord, but, he is giving boons to everyone. He's Ashutosha, easily pleased. He himself don't have any place to, good place to live. He's under the tree and he's just simple clothes he's wearing, but he's giving lots of boons which you and me can't comprehend. Like that, they are in that humble position. Shiva and Brahma is understood like that, So, when Shiva is deeply in meditation, he will never get distracted. Demigods, when they approach, demons attack, when they approach also, he will be observed in his meditation, he won't get distracted. But with the Mohini Murti Rupa, he got distracted. He just fallen in love with that Mohini Rupa. He was chasing her like anything. So Shiva also got bewildered like that. So then, we understand that, they are, none of them with the purport Prabhupada is given us, neither Lord Shiva, nor you, nor I, nor you means Narada, nor I, Brahma. We have limited, spiritual happiness, and then, demigods also. Then we are all bewildered by illusionary energy of the Lord. So how can we see that, there's so much cosmic manifestation, which Lord is created, and according to our individual capacity, we cannot. So like that, Prabhupada is explaining all the living entities, all of us, creatures in the material universe, their nature, we're all bewildered by, consequently bewildered by wonderful display of these three modes of material nature, mode of passion, ignorance, and mode of goodness. We are all completely every time, bombarded with all these three modes. So, which for us, it's very hard to understand or comprehend that, so manifestations of the Supreme Lord, who is the controller of everything like that. So Brahma, Narada, Lord Shiva know about the Lord to considerable extent, and therefore we should follow instructions of such great personalities instead of, relying on our tiny brain. Prabhupada says it's playful discoveries like that, how intelligent people try to, discover this, that, advancing in science, but this is actually not. As a mother is the only authority to identify the father of a child, so the mother Vedas presented by the recognized authorities such as Brahma, Narada, or Shiva is the only authority to inform us about the absolute truth. So we take their shelter like that, and then with that great humility, we should surrender to Lord, and then that way, Lord, will reveal us to reveal His potencies. But it's very hard in this lifetime to achieve. But we have to depend on the mantra which Krishna has given us in this Kali Yuga. That's the only mantra which will protect us. That is, only mantra, which is, Kaler Dosha Nide Raja Asti Yaka Mahajana. Kirtaneda Krishnasya Mukta Sangha Param Vijay. What is the other one? We have to chant, Mahamantra only. There is no other way, no other way, no other way. We in this Kali Yuga, this is the only Sankirtan Yajna we can perform. No other Yajna we can do. So
That is
just
Harinama.
depend on Harinama, Harinama,
Harinama Kevalam Kalam Nasti.
Vastu Namadeva Nasti. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So like the Lord appeared as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he's distributed this to us. So we just have to, depend on that, chanting of the holy name, which is Kali Yuga Dharma. And through the scriptures of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, we can understand the potencies of the Lord. And then whenever we understand also, it is limited to our knowledge, our capacity. But we keep shelter, take the shelter of the Lord, keep praying and take the shelter of the Lord. So that, we just, as how the mother is only authority to identify the father, like that we also take the shelter of the Father, Supreme Lord Krishna, through the scriptures, because he is in the form of book, he is representing in the books. So then, through a person who is actually, able to guide us in someone's authority, you take their guidance and shelter. So like that, you can approach Krishna. Not directly also, we cannot recognize. Like how Prabhupada in the end says that, we should only take the recognize the Supreme Lord's absolute truth by the authority, such as Brahma, Narada, Shiva. So they're all coming in our disciplic succession. If you see Bhagavad Gita, in the beginning we have, right? We have a disciplic succession given in each, every Bhagavad Gita we have. After the preface or it's just an introduction, after introduction. We see that, right? Disciplic succession clearly given. Evam parampara praktam. We have there, Krishna, Brahma, Narada, Vyasa, Madhva. Like that, going up to, we have A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So that's what it is important to follow the parampara, and then in their footsteps, if you follow and then read the Shastra under the guidance of someone who is able to, clear our doubts, then we will able to understand the absolute truth. So in this lifetime, chanting is important. Offering, chanting, yeah, five angas of bhakti, taking, what is that, chanting, reading scriptures, and then, worshipping the Lord, and then living in holy dham and taking association of the devotees. Very important. Is it like that? Then, we will try to understand the Supreme Lord like that. Our mood should be humble and great devotion. If you render our service, then Krishna will be pleased. Yeah, I see some raising hands. Any comments or questions?
Hare Krishna. Thanks, Mataji. Thank you very much for the elaborate description. Yeah, if there are any questions, people can ask. Otherwise, we will do the Vaishnava Pranam and end the session.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. I have one more question, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Mataji, it is, we read in the scripture that asuras or those who don't take shelter of any parampara, they don't believe any control seat, above their understanding. So they are called asuras, right? But here we are saying that Brahma is also coming in parampara. Brahma gives shelter to the asura, and asura takes shelter to him. So how that works, Mataji?
Brahma take the shelter of Asura. Asuras never take shelter of
Brahma gives shelter to the asuras, right? Hiranyakashyap, right? He goes to Brahma. How that works, Mataji?
They
How
are
come he
actually
will call?
not taking shelter. They are actually doing austerities to please Brahma and getting the boons. And later they are doing whatever they want. Actually, they are not even respecting the boons they got it. They misuse the boons actually.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, if they are not taking shelter of their guru, why guru has to give them?
That is why they are. That's how they are asuras. No, they are not taking shelter. They are trying to please, but they are doing whatever they want.
Oh, but still they are able to get some benediction from the guru, and they are going to harm. So I really don't understand how that works.
Yeah, they are harming. They are harming it. That's true. But what they are doing is that they are actually not taking shelter of their guru. They are getting the things done because they perform those austerities and tapasyas like that, and they are pleased and they get the boons.
But they also have their guru, no? The Sukracharya. So he doesn't advise them.
Sukracharya is a guru for all asuras, right?
Yeah. So he doesn't advise them not to do.
Yeah, no, you
for
don't
their
advise
benefit,
them also,
they surrender. It's not for to serve. They take they take They help only to get their own benefit.
Correct. And they are
Their
not
own
actually in the mood of surrendering or serving. Right? Isn't it? Is there anybody, any one of us has seen anything like that? What they do is that for their own motive to fulfill, right? They do even that kind of austerities also, not for pleasing pleasing the Lord, not for that. Even they don't, they please the Lord with their austerities or sacrifices they do, but in return, that pleasing is not something which Krishna or Brahma is looking for. If they are pleasing, what is that bhakti? Is that something which is unmotivated? You do no ulterior motives are there in bhakti. That is not there in asuras. They have ulterior motive. They are getting it.
They want to lord over everything.
Yeah, that is what they are. If in materialistic world also, if you want to acquire too much, it is ugra karma or asura only, like that.
Yeah.
What we are trying to do when we acquire something, we have to do something. Whatever we earn, we give it to Krishna, some portion of what we acquire, so that it is spiritualized. If you do that, we are not accumulating sin, right? So what asuras are doing is getting only. They are not actually trying to give anything to the Lord. They are actually creating so much disturbance instead, right? How they are serving, where they are doing, what service they are doing, how they are setting an example in the mood of surrendering to the Lord, they are pleasing Lord and doing that. Austerities and tapasya only to get something, right?
Yeah, they want to only become powerful. Like in
Yeah.
Prahlad's case, he harassed his son, harassed
Hiranyakashipu,
father,
what
harassed
he
his
did,
son.
yeah. He powerful, and as soon as he got the powers, he got demolished all the places and attacked even the demigods, everything, right?
Yes, demonic mentality.
All the demigods were under threat actually after they got powers. Right?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat.
Mataji, regarding to this, I have a small query.
Yeah.
That Brahmaji and Lord Shiva both are such exalted personalities, and they also know future. So how come they are giving boon? Aren't they aware that what these guys are going to do, like Bhasmasura and Hiranyakashipu?
Yeah. See,
Can we
they are actually, sorry. Still have some more to say?
No, Mataji, that's it.
Yeah. So they are actually, they see, when me, if a child is asking something, it's not good for the child, but the child keeps on asking, shows lots of tantrums. Just to get rid of that, you have to do it. In a shopping center, if a child do, what you do? You have to give, right? Temporary solution, they give it, that's it. It's not a permanent solution they are giving it. But the child is miserably doing like that. They have to be. So they have been ordained, the instructor, all these boons are coming through the Supreme Lord only, and then to please, they are pleased with their performance or austerities, whatever they are done, to please them, they are done. So they are giving it some reward, but that reward is not permanent reward they are getting. They know this is not permanent reward, but they are asking that only now. Isn't it? If you go to Shiva and then ask for Krishna Prema, Shiva will be very happy then giving you some material boon.
Yes. He'll be more pleased that we have asked something.
Ashutosh.
He is easily pleased, but if you ask him to you to advance in Krishna Bhakti, you will be more happy. Just doing, if a child gets, some university he will get and you will admit it. But if a child gets a better result and go to a very top class university, you'll be more happy, right?
True,
Who is stopping
First,
you? Like
we are not aware of this, that what we should ask. We only
they are not aware of. They are actually
benefits and benefits only.
correct.
They are moodies that we don't even know what to ask to
correct.
them.
Like a childish mentality. Child don't know what is good, what is bad. You know, but child doesn't know. Just keep on. We are doing like that with Krishna also. Krishna knows what is good to give, but we want only that. And sometimes we blame we didn't get and we don't like to worship Krishna also like that. We go to demigod because easily they're giving. There's some people, people are there like that.
If the child also blames, like, I was a child, but you should have stopped me. Why did you give that to me? Like, also we face these problems. Huh?
Yeah. Sometimes we don't give, grandparents may give also. So there is like that, child knows whom to approach. Like the demigods knows whom to approach. Sorry, demons know whom to approach. Like that. They go.
Okay,
Oh.
Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, so thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I don't know what kind of justice I did, but I tried to do whatever I understood.
Thank you, Mataji, for lovely explanations in detail.
No problem.
Yeah.
I just
Thank you so much, Mataji. Mataji, we will do the Vaishnava Pranam and we'll end the session. Yeah?
Yes.
One.
Vancha kalpatarubhyascha.
Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram,
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Mataji.
Hare
Dandavat
Hare,
pranam.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Hare
We've gone a little over time. So thank you, Hare Krishna.
Wonderful session, Mataji. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Shall I end the session?
Yes, Mataji, please.
Yeah.
I'm
Hare
not-
Bol. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Very wonderful session, Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you.